Welcome to this month's Fit for Colorado Talk to the Doc chat. I'm CBS 4 anchor and health reporter Kathy Walsh. For the next half hour, we'll be chatting about fitness and health issues here on CBS4Denver.com. Throughout this chat, we encourage you to ask questions by simply typing them in the chat window at right, and we will do our best to answer those questions. In today's chat, we're going to discuss sleep and sleep disorders. According to the National Sleep Foundation, nearly 6 of 10 men and women, 126 million Americans have some trouble sleeping a few nights a week. A third of us suffer from chronic insomnia. Up to 1 in 5 has sleep apnea, a serious sleep disorder. Joining me today is Dr. Robert Ballard of Presbyterian St. Luke's Medical Center. He specializes in sleep disorders. And also Dr. Jim Hill, co-founder of America on the Move and director of the Center for Human Nutrition, UC Denver. All right, Dr. Ballard, we all know sleep is essential. Why?
Well, that's kind of the big issue, because if we could do without sleep, just think how much more we could get out of our lives every day. But we know that it plays an important role in terms of not only allowing our body to restore itself and to heal itself and to keep itself capable of functioning, but it also plays an important role in terms of keeping our mind well organized and functioning correctly. And we know that if people go without sleep for any sustained period of time, all those things start to break down.
So how much sleep is enough? How much do you need?
You know, it appears that there's a lot of variability. Some people can get by with much less sleep, and some people require quite a bit more. So every individual kind of has to make that assessment. As an average rule, we think that probably the old-fashioned rules of 8 hours of sleep would be ideal, are probably still accurate for the general population. In truth, though, some people can get by with less than 6 hours, but some people require up to 10 hours of sleep per night. And whatever it takes to make you feel good and to make you have high quality of life and to be productive during the daytime, that's basically your normal amount of sleep.
Sure. And what happens if you don't get enough sleep?
Well, typically you note very quickly that you don't function as well. And so cognitive function is what we refer to it as, which is kind of the ability to assimilate information and make decisions based upon that. It starts to deteriorate pretty quickly. And so consequently, people find that they're becoming less productive in their daily activities as opposed to maintaining productivity. And so that's the sort of thing that I would encourage people to keep a close eye out for, is how well am I doing? Am I dissatisfied with my performance? And what are the things that I can do to improve my performance? And perhaps something as simple as getting another hour or two of sleep each night might help to achieve that.
And Dr. Hill, what happens to you physically?
Well, you know, Kathy, we've talked before about one of the things I'm concerned about. People are gaining weight, 1 to 2 pounds a year. You know, what's interesting is now it looks like sleep deprivation may be contributing to that. And so as Bob said, if you're not functioning well, you're going around sleep deprived, you're not functioning well, you're not regulating your body weight well. So think
let's look at this real quickly. Less sleep, more likely to become obese. And then there's another one that we put up there. Obese, more likely to sleep less.
So it's interesting. So not getting enough sleep both causes obesity, and then you have sleep consequences as a consequence of obesity. So if there are these people, Bob, walking around that are sleep deprived, it means that a lot of people aren't functioning as well as they could be functioning if they got more sleep.
Absolutely. And basically there's no shortage of people that actually come in to seek evaluation and help with those sorts of problems. And that's kind of what we do in sleep medicine now.
Yeah.
So one of the issues is, why are people sleep deprived? And I guess you deal with that a lot, is that a lot of us would like to get more sleep, and yet it's the stress and the busyness of life that's causing us not to.
Let's talk about the stress. I looked at this morning, first thing, opened the paper. Bad getting worse. The economy, number one, I would think, on people's minds right now. Is that causing people to lose sleep?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and whether or not people actually came in initially because the economy was causing their problems, when they've come in now, more recently, it's clearly contributing to worsening of symptoms.
So it's almost like modern life is causing this problem.
Absolutely.
In many ways.
You know, and in truth, when we look at the condition called insomnia, which is typically difficulty initiating and maintaining sleep or not getting sufficient sleep, it really does appear to be sort of a Western society phenomenon. And it kind of reflects our busy lives, the fact that we actually have increasing work weeks as opposed to decreasing work weeks, and the fact that there are so many things that kind of distract us around the clock. For instance, access to the internet, or for instance, cable television. So there's so many things that are competing for our daytime hours that it really encroaches into our normal sleep time.
Yeah. One of the things about insomnia that I read is that more women and the elderly seem to suffer from it. Why?
Well, it's kind of interesting because we've traditionally thought that women do suffer more from insomnia. Some studies that have been done recently have kind of looked at sleep patterns in women versus men and have actually found that they're closer than we initially thought, but that women actually perceive sleep somewhat differently from men, and it might be kind of a gender-specific difference in perception. Might be the way that we're thinking about it now. Unfortunately, though, as we get older, our sleep becomes less organized. And part of that might be that there's a breakdown in these body clocks that we call circadian clocks, which part of their role is to determine when we're sleepy and when we're alert. And as we get older, we think those become less robust. And so consequently, that allows our sleep to become less consolidated and makes older people more prone to be awake at night and more prone to be sleepy during the daytime.
But you know what? On the other end, what we see is a relationship between lack of sleep and obesity in kids. Are you beginning to see children who have sleep problems?
Oh, absolutely. And it's kind of interesting because we sort of generally have accepted in the pediatric population more that these are just, within the normal range. Some kids are good sleepers, some kids are poor sleepers, and it all comes together in the end. But, more recent data has suggested that, a lot of adults who have problems with sleep, these started back when they were infants. And they're basically patterns of behavior that have, maybe had onset as early as infancy.
Really? So what are parents supposed to do to prevent that when their children become adults?
Well, I think that they're supposed to maybe take a more active role in terms of monitoring their children and in terms of getting help if they think that their children need help.